Okay, we are in Shaar Aleph Perek Chaf, and we reached the Hagah. The first part of the Hagah, if you have it inside, I should really have a book. If you have it inside, it's a lot easier for me and for you. First part of the Hagah, I could explain. Second part of the Hagah, where he starts with Pnimius HaInyan, he lost me. However, I was just looking at trying to get help with this, I was looking at the Nefesh Hachaim of Rav Leuchter. So here I just want to read you, he says in the second part of the Hagah Shebesayf HaPerek, Megala Rabbeinu Dvarim Mavhilim. The Nefesh Hachaim brings out Dvarim Mavhilim. And he says here at the end, just before we state it, he says, Mashkiach, he refers to the Mashkiach, which is Revolba. There's Revolba, so he says, Mashkiach ma'oid hislahev mehagah zu. He got very excited about this Hagah that I was about to skip. Lamad oisa shuv v'shuv. He learned it over and over again. Nidmali, Rav Leuchter is saying, Shu Amar Shebahagah Zu, in this Hagah, Miskala Gadlus Ha'adam, Shebi Chalosei Liskadesh Kol Kach, because it's this Hagah which tells us how great a person and how holy a person can become. It's us. At Sheba Yatzel L'Poyel Kol Harayin Shel Abriya, and within the person or through the person, the entire kavanah of the creation of the world can come out. It's all in this Hagah. Efshir Lilmadaisa, he's quoting, Efshir Lilmadaisa Gam Mea Pam. You can learn this Hagah 100 times. I wasn't going to do it once even.
Who's quoting Rav over here? What's it?
Rav Leuchter, Shivas Nefesh. Leuchter. Misha Eina Masugal Lilmadaisa Oid Va'oid, and if you're not holding by learning this thing over and over again, Osu, that's a sign, Shaloi Hevinoisa Klal V'ikr, means that you don't understand what's going on over here. So I just said, okay, I'm up to the challenge. Let's try to do it. It's a little bit complicated, but we'll learn together. We'll see. Once he tells me that if I don't learn this, I don't understand anything. So I'm challenged, But before we get to the hard part of the Hagah, let's learn the so to speak, easy part of the Hagah. Remember that this whole Perek Chaf is really about Tshuva in a very, very deep level, and Tshuva on a deep level refers to Tashuv Hey. We spoke a lot about the Yud and the Hey and Tshuva. And the main point of everything that we learned was that there is Naran. Ki Yadua, we've talked about it many times, there's Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama. And the way a person was created, so everything starts from Hashem, goes through the worlds, Tzilus, Bria, Yetzira, Asiya, goes through the Neshama Klali, then to our personal Neshama, he explains, and then through our Ruach, and then it gets down to our Nefesh, to who we are. So there's a system here. We're not just independent or not plugged in. We're completely part of the whole Bria and part of the whole Bria Sa'adam. That's what we've been learning until now. So Tshuva, he explained to us, doesn't just mean that you better your ways. Tshuva means that you're tashuv, you're returning, because when you do a chet, so what happens is that your neshama, your ruach, gets detached. The chet detaches the nefesh from the neshama and the ruach. So now the nefesh is existing independent of its tachlis, and independent of the energy which should come down from a makam of kedusha. How does it live? So there's other kochos that Hashem put in the bria to let it live as a parasite on the bria. But that's called, by the way, a rasha. A rasha means that he's a rasha doesn't mean evil. I mean, a rasha might be evil, but that's not what the word rasha means. The word rasha, lashon of rosh. Rasha is a person who's not fulfilling their purpose in this world. They're not on the derech. They're not hooked up. They don't get it. A lot of people just don't get it. They're not connected. You can live your whole life and not be connected. It's sad. It's a sad thing. But if you are connected, it's a very happy thing. And then you just, after 120 years, a person dies. A person's chozer, ruach, all the psukim, your ruach, nishba, go back to your neshama, go back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're just here, and you're connected. If you're disconnected, where are you going to go? That's the so tshuva is a reconnection. We spoke about the fact that to review the parak that Adam Arishon, when he did tshuva, so he brought a carbon of a Shaar that the horns came first. Lalamde knew that what's the pshat that the horns came first? The pshat is that when you can do tshuva, you can go straight up to the top. In other words, you don't have to do tshuva starting from the bottom and working your way up to the top. We have a koach to go straight up to the top, like the karnaim, and work our way down. So we can create an energy. We have kibeko Hashem Surei Lamim. We can go right up to the yud hey of the bria. That's what we spoke about on Thursday, and it comes to us. Also alluded to the fact that it seems to be a machlokes the Rambam and the Rabbeinu Yonah how tshuva works. Does tshuva work like the Rambam says, and that's the simple pshat in tshuva, that I have azivas achet, like, okay, I want to better my ways. So it becomes sort of like, Alcoholics Anonymous. Like, first thing is, stop drinking. Second thing is, why do I drink? Admit that you're an alcoholic. There's all kinds of steps till you get to the Omek Hadavar. So the Rambam seems to say a similar thing, that first of all, if you're doing a chet, stop doing the chet. The second thing is regret that you did the chet. The third thing is figure out why you did the chet. Lamala. We're out of season, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. The Rabbeinu Yonah in Parak Aleph says it the other way. That tshuva is, stopping to do the chet is actually the last part of it. Tshuva starts in Shamayim. Tshuva starts in the highest part of our neshama, where Batipoyim Ruchai, that's already later, that my neshama has a feeling that I should do tshuva. I doubt, by the way, I doubt that most Balei tshuva, I'm talking about it like in the vernacular, I doubt that they sit down one day and say, I want to better my ways. I don't think that's what's going on. I think what's going on is a person feels a kriya of kedusha. It's a sort of a kedusha which says, you know what, maybe this is the right way. And then you realize eventually that I need to better ways. I need to do more mitzvahs. I need to do. I think it does start from the top to the bottom. And I think kabbalistically, Rabbi Yonah is going kabbalistically that it starts with Yisarus and Le'ela. Now we know that, like the Balatanya says over and over again, that if something just comes from the top and it's not concretized, it's not going to stay. It's not going to go anywhere. So, like a lot of people could be walking down the street and say, "Whoa, I've got to do tshuva," but it doesn't mean anything. It's like, like today, I'm going to start my diet until you see the first cookie. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to start my diet. So it has to be concretized in Gashmius, but it starts according to Rabbi Yonah to the top. So typically, the Rambam doesn't take the Kabbalistic view. He says, "Okay, we're talking about self-improvement, bottom to top." But this Reb Chaim Volozhin is very interesting, that the tshuva of the symbolism of the tshuva of Adam Arishon is he started with the karnayim, with the horns. Start from the top and then work your way down till the akev. And that's where we left off, till the akev. It gets all the way down to the hoofs. So it starts from the top, and then the last thing created, this was a symbolism in Adam Arishon's tshuva, the last thing that was created was the feet of the Shaar, and that's the way he was learning that tshuva should work. So, did he change his ways? Maybe it took 7 generations. The Gemara says that he didn't have sheis. This is his third Kain Hevel sheis. He didn't have sheis until 7 generations because his tshuva process wasn't complete. He felt he wanted to have a child b'kedusha. So the only way to have a child b'kedusha was wait till the Shivasayim of Kain, until the world was more masuk, until he could do tshuva. But his tshuva started with this carbon, didn't end with the carbon. It started with the carbon. Let's start from the top and let's work our way down. So in other words, he said he heard Hashem's calling, saying Ayeka. It could be that everybody does tshuva, bal tshuva, not bal tshuva. It doesn't make any difference. Everybody does tshuva. It's like you hear this kind of like a call in your head or in your heart or in your shaba which says Ayeka, like Ifata. What's going on here? What are you doing? You're messed up. Okay, your parents, your grandparents, but Ayeka, Where are you? Very first word that Hashem said to Adam, right? Ayeka. Where are you? So that word is going, repeats over and over again, and that's what we were saying until now. Now we come to the Haggah. This is the first simple part of the Haggah. But this is what David HaMelech meant when he said, Torah Hashem Tamima Mishivas Nefesh. Mukar. Everybody knows Torah Hashem Tamima Mishivas Nefesh, Edus Hashem Ne'emana, Machkim Aspesi, etc. Shal Yidei Esek Adam B'Torah Hashem was very, very part and parcel to the growth process, of the tshuva process, and the reconnecting of the nefesh to the ruach and to the neshama is Torah. Torah, Limud HaTorah, somehow or another has the effect. That's why this is so important. Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. That the reason why it's so important, not just because you have to know, but the reason it's so important. Look, with learning Torah, it's like mountain Torah. Like we wouldn't have been a Jewish people without Har Sinai. Like Torah is not like a side. Oh, also learn Torah. It's mountain Torah was the central historical moment, the epoch of Sinai. That was the big thing, that we came out of Mitzrayim, we became Jews. But Torah. So the Torah, what the Torah does is it connects us. And listen to the words. Torah Hashem Tamima. Torah of Hashem is so perfect that it's Meshivas Nefesh. It takes the Nefesh and returns it, Meshivas Tshuva, returns it to the Ruach. Beautiful pshat. Torah Hashem Tamima, Meshivas Nefesh. It's a returner of the Nefesh. So the best thing to do, this is always, by the way, a dilemma if you're working with in the Kiruv world, because anybody who's done this, the people here that has done this knows that the best way to be Makar of somebody is teach them Torah. Somehow or another, it's magic. It's amazing. I mean, you can teach them Baba Kaba, you can teach them. Torah has a koach, but the problem is that it's hard and possibly even forbidden to teach Torah to somebody who has no intention of keeping it. So there's like a ishbayapo, but I always tell the story just to illustrate an important story. But when I first got married, so bear with me if you heard the story 30 times, but it's okay. When I first got married, I lived in Romema, completely non-frum area at that time. Non-frum, I was the blockbuster, and all my neighbors were not frum. So I started to make a kesher with them, made friends with them, etc. I wasn't a Kiruv guy at all. I was a brisk. I was anti-Kiruv, anti-Kiruv. But I had to live, so I made friends with them. So they started coming to the house a lot. So at that time, Uri Zohar was a famous movie star. Now I don't know if he's famous anymore, but he was a famous movie star who was just becoming frum. And that was exact time, exact time. How many years ago is this?
32.
Who? Yeah, that's about like when I'm married, right?
73, 74, something like that. 70,
No,
That's Monsey.
40 years ago.
44.
40 years ago. We're talking about 40 years ago.
76.
Yeah, I'm married 40. Yeah. So I have a kid who's 39 years old. So at that time he was just becoming frum, and it happens to be that he used to come to daven in the same minyan I davened in Mattersdorf, because he was a Talmud of somebody in Mattersdorf, and I actually used to help him. Here you stand, here you sit. Like at that time, now he's a big grab, but at that time I used to help him. So I walked him out of shul. He was a famous person. Like they used to come with busloads of kids, like kids, Israeli kids. They used to come, and they used to just come to look at him, to catch a glimpse. It was like a movie rock star, It was a big deal. And he used to go on the bus, and he used to talk to them. It was very nice, like almost a daily occurrence. But anyways, I was walking once, and I was telling you, I moved onto the street, and nobody's religious, and I'm trying to talk with them, and I was thinking of making something in my house, sukkah was actually making something in sukkah, and inviting everybody over, all my neighbors, and so maybe you'll come. Well, I asked him two things. I said, first of all, maybe you'll come to speak in my sukkah. Like it'd be a nice thing. So he said, no, he says they're coming to look at me. I remember him telling me, like a monkey in the zoo. They're not coming to listen to me. They're not coming to hear any chachma. They're just coming to look at me, that's the way they see it. So I said, no, b'chol zot, maybe. So anyways, finally he agreed to that. He said, as long as it's for a select group of people that you invite, maybe 10 people, so he'll come and talk. It's bli hitnaplut, that was his language. He doesn't want the whole hitnaplut, bli hitnaplut. So I invited very carefully 10 people, my neighbors, and I told them, I'll tell anybody about this, just come. Anyways, about 150 people came. It was from there I learned that if you want somebody to tell everybody about it, so tell them, I'll tell anybody about this. This is the trick, A guy fell in through the schach in the middle. It was an amazing thing. He spoke beautifully. It was just a very, very special thing. It really started a whole, he really started like a whole tshuva movement there in Romania. In the same conversation to Lian Yanenu, I said to him, I'm learning with these people, but what should I learn with them? What should I learn? So, like maybe Mar Nevuchim, maybe, I don't know, the Gra and Mishlei, I don't know, what should I learn with them? So he said, well, what are you learning in yeshiva? So I said, right now Menachos, those are brisk, but I'm just also the afternoon learning Baba Kaba, so he says, so learn with that Baba Kaba. So I said, Baba Kaba, what do they have a kasher with Baba Kama? I have to teach them, philosophy, So he said, I said to him, it doesn't make sense to learn with them. I'm telling him, I said to him, Raburi, I said, you really don't understand, the Chiloni mind. I think back all the time, how stupid I was. Who understood it better than him, who understood it? So he told me, learn with them Baba Kaba. So I said to him that I don't believe that this is going to work to teach them Baba Kama. So he says, you don't believe in the Torah, and you don't believe in Hashem. He tells me. He says, you don't understand what Baba Kama. So I learned with the Baba Kama. So he gave me Musar. He said, you don't believe in the. There's a magical koach in the Torah of Torah's Hashem. Mishivas nefesh, so it's returning, and this is the lumdus here. What's happening is you're taking the nefesh, which is so separated from the ruach and the neshama, and you're returning it, realigning it to its pipe of the ruach and the neshama. And how do you do it? What's the seder of that? How do you do it? So the answer is Torah's Hashem tamima. If you learn, as he's going to say, if you learn Torah's Hashem tamima, which means lishma, the koach of Torah is such that it's Meshivas Nefesh. Now, I could tell you, you're learning with somebody who's not religious, Baba Kama, he's learning Lishma. Why else is he doing it? He's not learning it because he's going to get a far hair on Baba Kama or because he wants to get into Mir Yeshiva or so. He's learning it Lishma, right? So, Torah's Hashem Tamima, dafka, if you're learning philosophy, it's not Lishma, it's fun. What does Nietzsche say? What does the Rambam say? Baba Kama is Lishma. So it has this magical ability. So look inside. Teres Hashem Tamima Meshivas Nafesh Shal Yedei Eisek Ha'adam B'Teres Hashem V'hi Tamima Etzlei Karoi. If you're learning Torah and you're learning it Tamima, He Meshivas Nefesh Ha'adam L'Sharsha B'Shleimusa. The Torah will have the effect. Now we don't have to, move to a place where it's not. You do it for ourselves. Torah has this koach. That's the koach, and it has nothing to do with what you're learning. By the way, you could be learning one thing, and you could have a hisaris of tshuva and a different thing altogether. V'sayim sham, and David HaMelech ends off there with Gam Avdecha Nizar Bohem. Now I just want to show you something. Where do we say this? We say this in Shachris of Shabbos. Just take a minute, let's be mefarish. Islam Natseach Mizmar LaDavid. So David HaMelech said, we say over Parak Yutes, David HaMelech said as follows: Hashamayim Misapring Kvod Kel, Umay Siyadu Magid Arakia. He goes on, and then he starts to speak about the sun. He speaks about the sun, David HaMelech. Sun, S-U-N. B'chol haaretz yatsa kavam u'v'ksei seibel mileim l'shemesh sam oil b'hem v'hu kechasen. If you look at the sun, it's kechasen yotzei mechupasei. The sun, right? How does a chasen look when he comes out of his chuppah? We hope radiant, excited. I have the whole future in front of me, bright, shining. Right? That's the chasen. By the time Sheva Baruch is over, different story. but at the beginning, Gewalt, like to say, V'hu Kechasen, that's like we say Mara Koyin. Mara Koyin, we say this on Yom Kippur. Kechasen Yotzei Mechupasa. There's nothing like a chasen's coming out of his chuppah. So that's the sun. V'hu Kechasen Yotzei Mechupasa. Yasis Kegibor Lorud Zayrach. It's running its task. It's shining on the world. Miksei Hashamayim Moitzasai Uskufasai Alksoisem Vei Nister Mechayimosai. Nobody can hide from the sun. When the sun gives off a heat, nobody could hide. And then he goes on to say, Torah Hashem Tamima Meshivas Nefesh, Ma Kesher, the sun and Torah. Each like switches in the middle of the David HaMelech, right? The great Payut. He switches. He talks about the sun, the strength of the sun, how the sun, nobody can get away from the sun. You know, everything is in the sun, right? Everything in the world is because of the sun. Everything comes back to the sun, right? We all learned in Gan. Everything goes back to the sun. Every tree, every plant, every house, everything goes back to the sun. You need the sun. Without the sun, the world doesn't work. Then he gets to Torah. So the Nakuda here of David HaMelech is that the sun is a mashal to what he wants to talk about here. What he wants to talk about here is Torah. He uses the sun as a mashal that the Torah is like the sun. Hashem is like the sun. Ki mogein B'Shemesh Hashem Elikim. It's like the sun. In other words, like it's radiant. It heals. And the sun is thorough. Like, you know, it's thorough. You can protect your skin, but you can't protect yourself from the heat. You can't protect yourself from what the sun does, and it heals. It doesn't hurt. It heals. It does everything, right?
My wife is always mindful, like when we had new babies, like take the baby out into the sun. I think vitamin K, there's all sorts of things that the baby needs, you know, to be out in the sun and get and radiate what she put the baby in the sun.
You know, I was reading that, today we don't like the sun because of skin cancer and all kinds of things. Stay away from the sun. But because we're keeping everybody away from the sun, we're missing like all kinds of vitamins and nutrients and everything. So, but okay, we'll talk about the ozone layers. But yeah, the sun. But the Torah is like the sun. What is it like the sun? Just like the sun shines, and just like the sun permeates, so too does Torah permeate. So David HaMelech is bringing the sun, just so we understand what we're davening Shabbos morning, bringing the sun as a mashal to Torah. And then he says like this, Torah Hashem Tamima Meshivas Nefesh, Eidus Hashem Ne'amana. Look what the sun can do for you, or the Torah can do for you. First thing it does is it returns your nefesh to your ruach, Meshivas Nefesh. Returns your nefesh, puts your nefesh back in shape. From that, Eidus Hashem, that means Torah, Ne'amana Machkimas Pesi. Your brain starts to work differently. The minute that you're learning Torah, it's not that the Torah sharpens your mind, but the Torah, like the sun, is permeating. It's like it's vitamin T, so it's permeating our system until all of a sudden I'm thinking more clearly. Machkimas pesi. I was a pesi, like I was at a cloud. My brain was in a cloud. All of a sudden I'm learning Torah. Says David HaMelech, Machkimas. I become a chacham. I start saying something. We've seen this phenomenon. Really stupid people start saying smart things. Machkimas pesi. Bikudei Hashem Yeshurim. Next thing that happens with Torah, Misamche Lev. You see a simcha. Where does the simcha come from? It's a permeation of Torah. So we're talking about chachma. We're talking about simcha. Amazing. Mitzvahs Hashem, Baramir Seinaim. Clarity. So these are all things that you think it's something on the outside. Okay, I'm doing a mental exercise. No, it's the Torah permeates me, and I become a changed person. Everything about me changes. My mind changes. My simcha changes. My mood changes. My clarity is better. It's not about what I'm learning. It's not about the Baba Kama necessarily. It's just something. This is what happens. This is what happens when you're Meshivas Nefesh. The koteret here is that you're putting the nefesh back to the ruach. Whoa. It's like, the guy needs oxygen, and you're putting the oxygen. Like, I didn't realize I could think like this. I didn't realize I could see like this. And the more the better, until you can become a greater tzaddik. Yiras Hashem tahira, oimedes la'ad, mishbusei Hashem tzadkiach. And now, to the part that he's saying, Gam avdecha, and here's the key. Gam avdecha nizar bahem. David HaMelech talking about himself. That he came to a madrega after him doing tshuva, after the story of Bathsheba. That's what he's talking about. So everybody did tshuva over the chet of Bathsheba, which was a chet. He did tshuva, and he did tshuva by learning Torah. And at that time, it says in Tanakh that Nasan Hanavi came to David HaMelech, and he said to David HaMelech that you're able to do the hachana because of your tshuva. You're able to do the hachana to build the Beis HaMikdash. You'll be able to build the Beis HaMikdash. You're going to be able to bring the Shekhinah into this world, and you yourself are going to be a completely different person just because of your tshuva and because of your Torah. In other words, there's a transformation that took place from the Torah. How does David HaMelech describe on himself? This is fascinating. The transformation took place. Gam avdecha nizhar bohem. So everybody thinks that means that Gam avdecha, also your servant, meaning me, nizhar bohem, is very careful about the Torah, right? Very careful, nizhar bohem. Says the Nefesh Hachaim, that's not what nizhar means. Lashon zehira, he's shining. He's shining like the sun. Gam avdecha nizhar bohem. B'shamram, because when he keeps it, Ekev Ra. It goes from my head all the way down to my toes, to my heel. Ekev is the lowest part of a person's body. The Ekev is the part that's almost stuck in the dirt. But the shining goes all the way. My heels are shining. Because it says, also by Adam HaRishon, it says that when Nefesh Hachaim brought it a couple of seconds ago, Zeu sha'amru v'yikar Rabba, just right before the Hagah, shetapuach akevoi shel Adam HaRishon hayem mechai galgolei chalma, that his heels were shining like the sun. What does that mean, his heels were shining like the sun? It means that the tshuva that he did, and before he did the chet, and then with tshuva, Adam HaRishon radiated so head to toe. It wasn't just in my head. It wasn't just in my head and my heart. It was everywhere. He was radiant. Do you find such an idea? Avdecha nizhar bohem. That's the underlying point here. Avdecha, David HaMelech said, nizhar bohem. I'm shining because of the tshuva and the Torah that I did. It permeated my whole body. You find like Moshe Rabbeinu, right? So Moshe Rabbeinu was on Har Sinai, and then he began to shine so much and that's the Karen, right? Karnei Re'im. He began to shine so much that nobody could even see him. Nobody could even look at him. He got to a point of lechem lo yachalti mayim lo shasisi. I don't have to eat. I don't have to drink. He became kedusha. Like up in kedusha, it was nizar behem. So that's the gam. The Rashi says, gam avdecha nizar behem. Not only Moshe Rabbeinu, not only Adam HaRishon, gam avdecha. Even your servant, David HaMelech, he always called himself the servant of Hashem. He referred to himself as such. Avdecha, nizhar, I'm shining behem. V'shamram ekev ra, all the way down to my heels. Beautiful, right?
Today's the yard center of Shlomo Karlibach. So
is it?
Yeah, so he had the kayach to look at somebody who looked like the heel of the Klal Yisrael, the lowest, and see the light shining from him.
Nachon. Hard job. It's a hard job. Is that your yard site? I thought it was outdoor. Okay, so we're saying here, Torah Hashem Tamima Meshivas Nefesh Al Yidei Esek Adam B'Torah Hashem V'Hi Tamima Etzlei Karoi He Meshivas Nefesh Adam L'Sharsha Bishlei Musa V'Sayim Sham. In the end of this whole how the Torah will permeate David HaMelech's life, the end he says Gam Avdecha Nizar Behem B'Shamram Ekev Rav. Nizhar, he teaches us the word V'Nizhar Miloshin Yazhiru. Comes from the word zira from Zohar, Hainu shal yedei sheshomar kol hamitzvahs. Just reading what I just said outside. Hamachuvanim neged kol evarei ha'adam. We know that every mitzvah there's ramach evarim and shasa gidim, and then there's ramach mitzvahs essay and shasa mitzvahs essay. It's all mechuvan, right? So the idea is it fits my whole body in here. Achagam ba kevay haya'or v'zayarav. Until my heels were shining. Like that's the lowest of the low, and you can make him shine also. you talk about, like, I just want to, if you tell me it's Shlomo Carlebach's yard site, let me tell a quick story. May I? A quick story. So I was in Manhattan, and I was talking to Shlomo Carlebach. So he said to me, do me a favor. He says, tonight I was invited to this guy's apartment to do a little concert at Kumsitz in this person's apartment. He says, completely non-religious. These are all a bunch of Wall Street people, and like completely non-religious, but he wants me to come. Like, he says that I don't feel like it's my crowd. That's what he tells me. I don't feel like it's my crowd. So can you come with me? As if it's my crowd, right? Can you come with me? He wanted, he wanted some company, Can you come with me? Okay, come with him. So I actually picked him up, and I brought him there. And he says he'll be up in a few minutes. He tells me, just go up. I don't know what I'm tuning his guitar. I don't know what he's doing. So I went up to this apartment. It was like this beautiful apartment in the east side of Manhattan, Upper East Side of Manhattan. Beautiful apartment. It was so uncomfortable. It was like you're talking about like the ultimate in soulless people. They were all walking around with a cocktail and talking. It was just so uncomfortable. Like these were not people that are going to sing on the floor. And, it was just like the wrong highbrow, like very and I was there. I didn't have anything to say to anybody. I didn't know. Like I was trying to make conversation, and it was like, what was I doing there in the beer? Like it was just so uncomfortable. And I understood, like the Chachma of Carlebach, that he understood what he's walking into. Interesting, he didn't say no. But this is not a Carlebach crowd. This is not a Carlebach crowd. Anyways, I was a little bit worried about this. I was very uncomfortable. I was trying to hide in some corner or something. Went to the bathroom 4 times. Like I was just trying to get out of there. Like it was and then Shlomo walks in. It was yard site today. Shlomo walks in. He looks at the crowd. Nobody sees him because they're all he walks in through this door, and as he walks in, he just touched everybody, on the back. I'm watching this, and as he just how are you doing? How you doing, my friend? How you doing? How you doing? It was like I just had this picture in my mind of he knew where the switch was on the person's spine and turned on this light. By the time he got to the front, I had a room full of hippies. I'm telling you, it was an amazing thing. All of a sudden, everybody's he didn't do anything. He just somehow or another had this just somehow, I don't know what it was. And I'll tell you, it was a rocking night. He was, starts and gets up to the front, boom, 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 boom. 10 seconds, everybody's singing. How? I never saw anything like that in my life. So this is now you're talking about the Akev Rav. Talk about the Akev Rav. It was like they went from the Erev Rav to the Akev Rav. It was the Akev Rav. Mamish, the heels were shining. It was like a interesting thing. Okay, my story for the day. Everybody has a koach. So now we're going back to Torah. Nizhar miloshin yazhiru. Haydu shayidei shishamar kol hamitzvos hamechuvanim neged kol evarei ha'adam nizdachich nafshoy v'gufay. Because when a person does mitzvahs, when a person learns Torah, there's a purity here. And the purity creates a transparency, and when you see a real tzaddik, a real Talmid Chacham, it's a beautiful thing to see, because what you see is clarity. I explained it, and we learned it inside. That's what Parak Test of Tehillim is talking about. The koach of Torah. First, he talks about the sun. Then he talks about the Torah. To understand this from now on, Shabbos morning, we're talking about Torah. We're not talking about the sun. The sun is a mashal to the Torah. And now, let's go. That's what I do understand a little bit. Now let's get into what I don't understand. Rav Wolbe says worth reading 100 times. So maybe we'll read it 100 times. Mimi is saying, he says the inside story here is as follows. Gam avdecha nizhar bohem b'shamram ekev ra. Ki tachlis aliyasa shel midas David hamelech alav hashalom. Because if you want to understand the real aliyah, the growth, the reaching the heights that David HaMelech reached, b'shayrish sharsha elyon, and you want to understand where he got to, b'shayrish sharsha elyon, who bardula, Bardula is a Kabbalistic term. What does it say in yours? Does it spell out the abbreviation? Beresha Deloy Isyada. It's called Bardula. Beresha Deloy Isyada. It means as follows. Let me just explain. I'm very comfortable understanding this. Beresha Deloy Isyada is that there's what you're allowed to think about, and then you get to, in other words, how did the world come about? Kabbalah, you can think about the world of Asiya, the world of Bria, the world of Atzilus. You can think of everything. You can think of Nefesh, Ruach, Deshava, Klali, and then there's the Reisha de lo Yada. The Reisha de lo Yada is Adkan. And from here, Chazal say, like, you can't think Malamala, Malamata, Malafnim, Malacha.
Is it a limitation, or it's not something we should delve
into? Because you need to have that brain to be able to understand it. It would be like, it's a limitation, it's a human limitation, because it's completely already out of the human realm.
So it's like, don't contemplate in the Shem of the Furish, they say don't look at the name too long.
It's like trying to explain to a person who's blind from birth the color orange. And what happens is, if you know it's not darker, lighter, what are you going to explain? You don't have the brain to understand. It's not within the experience of that blind person. So what happens over here is you end up with the toes. What happens with you on the toes? So what starts off as an incapability ends up as a corruption of the fact. That's the shot. So there's a Reisha de lo Yada. We don't know. You could even, if you're a great Kabbalist, you could even get as far as Atzilus. But you can't get further than the Reisha de lo Yada. That's the limit. Hashem is belikvul. It goes without a limit, but there's a limit to what we can even contemplate, what we can even begin to understand. David HaMelech went as far as the Reisha de lo Yada. He went as far as, he got up into, probably not including the Reisha de lo Yada, what a human being can achieve in terms of understanding how the world works, how Hashem works, the Olamos, the Spherois. So he got the highest as you can do. Shuhu Malchus to Adam Kadma. Let's take it a word at a time. Malchus is always the bottom layer, right? Chesed, Gvur, Tiferes, Netzach, Yesod, Malchus. So Malchus in this world is the Akev. It's the heel that shines, the Akev, that which is all the way Malchus. In other words, ein Melech below Am. If Hashem is a Melech, so you can't be a Melech Aluf. Melech has to be Malchus. I have to be able to make laws and have respect from all the people, even the simple people in this world. So that's what Malchus is. If not Malchus, it's like ivory tower. It's not the real thing. So Malchus. So Hashem wants Malchus. What's the Melech Mashiach? Melech Mashiach. That's Malchus. Malchus means that the Shekhinah is going to permeate the earth, the lowest part of the earth. The lowest part of the earth. That's what Malchus is. If it's still up here, you're Midas Hayesod. David HaMelech was Malchus. David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Kai. David HaMelech was Malchus, and what he achieved was the Malchus of being able to permeate the earth. Hence, Nasan HaNavi told him, you can build a Beis HaMikdash. You can build a Beis HaMikdash. Not you, but your son. You can make the Haskalah of building a Beis HaMikdash because you're Malchus. You are Malchus. David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Kai. Kabbalistically speaking, and as I said, I wasn't even going to go here until I got Musar from Rav Leuchter to do it. But Kabbalistically speaking, he achieved the Reisha de lo Yada. He got up to the Reisha de lo Yada, which is, he says, Shehu Malchus, which is the lowest level of Adam Kadma, of Adam HaKadmoin. Adam HaKadmoin is not Adam Harishon. Nothing, I wouldn't say nothing to do with it, but it's not Adam Harishon. Don't get mixed up. Adam HaKadmoin means, just throwing out the words. Adam HaKadmoin is, as I say, I don't mind not understanding this because you're not supposed to understand it. But we can know what it is that we don't understand. So what we don't understand is Adam HaKadmoin, and it means that it's in the machshava of HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kiviyachol. This is the beginning of the Zohar. In the machshava of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he created the world, he conceived, he conceived Adam. He didn't conceive world, meaning Atlantic Ocean, China, America, Israel. That's not what what the kunz was, if I want to make a dira b'tachtonim, I'm going to make an Adam HaKadmoin. That's not a real person. It's a Kadosh Baruch Hu's idea of Adam HaKadmoin. That was the idea of the world. Adam, that we know, Adam Harishon. So B'Tselem Elikim Baras Adam. He was a mirror of the Adam HaKadmon. Adam HaKadmon is before everything, before Atzilus, Bria, Yitzira, Asiya, there's Adam HaKadmon. If you look, like if you go to a Shiur, if you get accepted into a Shiur Kabbalah, like let's say Rabbi Yaacov Haber like accepts you into a Shiur Kabbalah, so before you go, you have to learn through 5 Svarim before you come to the first Shiur. So one of them is the Shomer Amunah HaKadmon, and the whole introduction there is all explaining Adam HaKadmon. That's what it is. Adam HaKadmon is like the beginning of Kabbalah, because Adam HaKadmon, from there you work down. But Adam HaKadmon Atzmai, I don't know what we understand, but that's why the whole world is the energy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's first. This is the point here, not to get weird with Adam HaKadmon. the Hashem's original energy, cause, purpose in creating the world was Adam. And it means to say that we, who are mirroring, or the offspring, if you will, of Adam Harishon, who was a mirror of Adam HaKadmon, which was the first Machshava. So now we need to understand that everything that you see in the world, cement, trees, birds, rabbits, Atzilus, Bria, Yitzira, Asiya, Nefesh, Ruach, V'Sheva, it's all there to service one thing, Adam. It's David HaMelech Chapt that there's no other reason for the world, there's no other purpose, there's no other energy in the world except to service me. B'shvili nivra ha'olam. Gam avdecha nizer b'hem, that even me, we can shine from this shining that goes through the entire Bria, this whole unbelievable system that goes through. It should take billions of years. I guess it takes a second, I don't know. That comes through every second into our lives. Gam avdecha nizer b'hem, that he was able to reach the Reisha D'Layada. Ad v'lo ad b'chlal. That's how far he got, and he took the shine from there. Why does Rav Volozhin of Shalom say you should read it 100 times? Because otherwise you don't understand. It's worth reading all the time. We don't understand like what our purpose is. Like there's nothing more important than knowing what we're here for, what our purpose is, and how high of a level we can get to, and what kedusha we can achieve. There is no other purpose. Of the tikkun abidus that we're all working on, trying not to get angry, I'm trying not to lose my patience, I'm trying to. This is all just hizdachachus. It's all amazing stuff. It's amazing stuff to get us to the point where we can now try to achieve nizhar, where we can be shining like Moshe Rabbeinu was shining. Gam avdecha nizhar b'hem. David HaMelech was shining. Moshe Rabbeinu had to wear a mask. By the way, the Gemara says that it wasn't just Moshe Rabbeinu. The Gemara says that Rabbi Yochanan, the Gemara in Brachas stuff, Dalet and Beis, the Gemara says that Rabbi Yochanan, when he opened up, when he was bathing and he opened up his shirt, Galei Dare, it started to shine. So much so that Reish Lakish became a Baal Tshuva. And what was the shine? He said, can you imagine only, Rabbi Yochanan said about himself, can you imagine only how the Beis HaMikdash shined? Like the possibility of the Beis HaMikdash being like an exact replica of the Shammai Mimal. Imagine like if it was done correctly, and if when it stopped shining, it got destroyed because we weren't holding by it. But when it was really meant to be, the Beis HaMikdash of Shlomo HaMelech, it was this world and that world, Yerushalayim Shamala, Yerushalayim Shalmata, b'makbil. So it wasn't only Moshe Rabbeinu, it was only David HaMelech. You find Rabbi Yochanan was shining, and people he was crying al hay shufra de balei afra, crying about the Beis HaMikdash, because look how the world can shine. The world can shine, but it has to have this ruchnius pipe going into it.
Maybe can I ask you just
yes.
to repeat that in a sentence for our purposes? How would you define Adam HaKadmon again?
The shoirash, look at the next word, shoirash nishmas Adam Harishon. When we're talking about the original, and the way the Sfarim explain it is, the original machshava of Hashem is called Adam HaKadmon. Nothing to do with Adam as we know it. We're not talking about hands and feet and an abdominal system. We're talking about Adam HaKadmon was the original machshava. You know how, kiviyachol, I'm afraid to say anything, but like if you have a certain dream, so in that first second of the dream, like the vision, so you see the whole thing complete. You see the whole, let's say you want to achieve world peace, or you want to build a house, like whatever your dream is. You see that house in your mind. You can see the whole house. Now you go through the painstaking exercise of okay, what is the pipes going to look like, and what are the windows going to look like, and what are, that's the process. We get stuck in the process and we lose the vision. So what the Adam HaKadmon is the original vision of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is this is the ultimate in Kedusha of bringing Hashem's Shechina into this world. And it manifested itself in Adam HaRishon and Gan Eden. This is it. Gan Eden to service who? Adam HaRishon. Everything is to service this man until he removes his nefesh from his ruach and messed up the whole story. But the original story of Adam HaRishon was to mirror Adam HaKadmon, and to do that he had to be B'Tselem Elokim Baras Adam. Gentlemen, you understand this as well as I do. I'm just like, because per force you can't understand it, but what we can understand is that Machshava Tchila, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu had a Machshava here. He had a Machshava, and the Machshava is this glitz of a perfect world, this glitz of Mashiach. So David HaMelech chapped it. He became as close to perfection as you can be, but not completely. And Mashiach, who's going to, is the idea of Mashiach is l'sakein olam b'malchus Shaddai, that the Mashiach is supposed to come and make a tikkun olam, that it's going to be back to what it was originally as tikkun achet. So once the chet is besukin, the world is the way it's supposed to be. Gam avdecha nizarem, gam b'shamram ekevrav. Even the heels of the world will be shining. Even the heels will be shining. So it's okay. So we have a haskalah on the Haggah.